यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhi Jaya Gauranita 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 Jaya Gauranita Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada कलिपान हरिनाम संकीर्तन की करंतरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्रीरूपात की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. So Hare Krishna, this evening we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4 entitled Transcendental Knowledge, verse number 18. Karmaṇya akarmayah Karmaṇya akarmayah paśyed akarmaṇi ca karmayah akarmaṇi ca karmayah sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa yuktaḥ kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, sa yuktaḥ kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, karmaṇya-karma-yah paśyed, akarmaṇi ca karma-yah, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa yuktaḥ kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, karmaṇya-karma-yah paśyed, akarmaṇi ca karma-yah, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa yuktaḥ kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, akarmaṇi ca karma-yah, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa yuktaḥ kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, sa yuktaḥ karma-kṛt, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa karma-kṛt kṛṣṇa-karma-kṛt, karmaṇya-karma-yah paśyed, akarmaṇi ca karma-yah, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa karma-kṛt. Mataji's. karmaṇya-karma-yah paśyed, akarmaṇi ca karma-yah, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu, sa karma-karma-kṛt. Karmaṇi, inaction. Akarma, inaction. Yaha, one who. Paśyed, observes. Karmaṇi, inaction. Cha, also. Karma, fruitive action. Yaha, one who. Saha, he. Buddhi-mān is intelligent. Manuṣyeṣu, in human society. Saha, he. Yuktaḥ is in the transcendental position. Kṛtsna-karma-kṛt, although engaged in all activities. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men. He is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Purport. A person acting in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Kṛṣṇa, therefore he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society. Even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities for Kṛṣṇa, akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist sees fruitive activities out of fear, so that the resultant action may not be a stumbling block on the path of self-realization. But the personalist knows rightly his position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because everything is done for Kṛṣṇa, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in discharge of his service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Kṛṣṇa makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakya Chakshuruntamena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajiyam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitam Cha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse is literally very complex. It is a tongue twister and also brain twister. It's jugglery like. It's very difficult to make. So let me read the translation again, because oftentimes some verses they are literally complicated, very difficult to understand. So Kṛṣṇa explains, one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men. He is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So here Kṛṣṇa is speaking about an intelligent person. Who is intelligent? So Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, Krishna se bhaje sei chatur. Also Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Krishna varnam tisha akrishnam. So in the end it is mentioned that those who are intelligent, they will take to Krishna consciousness. So here now, just to begin with, Bhagavad Gita, as all of you know, there are 5 topics: Paramatma, Jivatma, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So now here Kṛṣṇa is explaining about karma. And yesterday's verse, if we see, it was mentioned, yesterday's verse, that was also also a very intricate verse. Here Kṛṣṇa explained yesterday, the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what is action, what is forbidden action, and what is inaction. So basically, on an outer scale, the karma is divided into 3 parts: karma, vikarma, akarma. Yesterday, the verse Kṛṣṇa explained, gahano. Kṛṣṇa explains that karmaṇo gati, gahana karmaṇo gati, means it is very, very difficult to understand how the laws of karma, they work. Now, if you go to biology, in this thing, science, so if we study something, it's very difficult to understand how the amoebas or many other organs, how they work. Very, very critical. So similarly, so in the Bhagavatam, in many other Puranas, there are literally countless stories explaining about karma, akarma and vikarma. So here today, Kṛṣṇa explains about action in inaction and inaction in action. So we'll try to understand, and also Kṛṣṇa explains who is intelligent among the men. So now, as I told you, this karma applies only to human beings. Amongst the 84 lakh species of life, only 4 lakh species, human life. There is a saying that ignorance of law, no excuse. Even if a child, if he is not following the rules of regulations of this nature, the material nature will not excuse him. If a child puts a hand in the fire will burn him. So there is one very, intricate story about one rishi. So he literally cursed Yamraj. His name is Mandukya Muni. It comes in Bhagavatam on story that one time some thieves came in the ashram of Mandukya Muni. They were hiding. So the king's soldiers, they caught those thieves, and along with Mandukya Muni, they took him to the king. And without saying king, he said, put them on the threshold, pierce them, their body, on a spear. So later on, the king came to know somehow Mandukya Muni, he is not guilty. So what he did, he said, okay, sorry, you can go, you are free. So Mandukya, he became so annoyed, he directly went to Yamraj. And he challenged Yamraj, how come this situation, you put me in this situation of life? So Yamraj, he told Chitragupt, come on, take out his file. So Chitragupt, he said, when Mandukya was 5 years old, he pierced an ant in the body with a thorn. So as a reaction, this is what this incident took place in his life. So Mandukya said, that time I was a child and I was ignorant. So that doesn't apply, as I told you. Ignorance of law, no excuse. So the law of karma is very, very intricate. So also oftentimes we say, why do bad things happen with good people? Actually, if we are good people, we'll not be here in the material world. We could have been in spiritual world. But material world, the Lord has put us to be reformed. So to know karma, it is not so easy. And scriptures, there are full of stories about different personalities. So here, as I told you, that Kṛṣṇa, he is telling how that action in action. In Bhagavad Gita, if we see here what we are studying today, karma. So now, on an outer sense, karma has 4 meaning. One is action, activity. Okay, just to make an outline, that Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa explains, Nityam kuru karma, ya jatu tistasve karma, or he explains, nahi kaśyet karmaṇi. Without doing something, you can't stay. Okay. The second part is sukarma, means good action. So the third part is reaction to action. It can be a tragedy, tit for tat. Okay. And fourth is law of karma, that no one can escape. In material world, we undergo 6 changes. So no one can say, I will not undergo the 6 changes. Okay. So these are the 4 meaning. Karma has 4 meanings. Now here, also in Bhagavad Gita, if you see, go in 18th chapter, Kṛṣṇa has explained about the varnashram. So what are the duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? So 18.42 Kṛṣṇa explains that Sama Dhamma Tapas Shaucham Kshantir Arjavanam Eva Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. So now the duties, actions of Brahmana, they are mentioned. He should be peaceful, self-controlled, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which Brahmanas, they work. So then Kṛṣṇa explains about Kshatriyas. Shauryam tejo dhatir daksham yuddecha apalayanam cha dhanam ishvara bhavascha kshatram karma swabhavajam. Kṛṣṇa explains heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Now we'll come to Vaishyas and Shudras. Kṛṣṇa explains in one verse, 18.44. Kashigo raksha vanijam vaishya karma swabhavajam paricharyatmakam karma shudraschapi swabhavajam. Kṛṣṇa explains that farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, there is a labor and service to other 3, especially Kshatriyas, Brahmanas, and Vaishyas. Also in Bhagavad Gita 5.10, what Kṛṣṇa has told that in the future it will come 5.10. So there Kṛṣṇa explains, Brahmanya adaya karmaṇi sangam tektva karotiha lipyate nyasa papena padma patram ivambasha. So here Kṛṣṇa, what he explains, one who performs his duty, that is work, without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by the water. Now if we see literally, the lotus is born from the mud. And also although it is living in the water, the leaf, they have such a coating like wax coating. Even some water falls, it will fall off. The leaf doesn't get wet. And if we see literally, there are a lotus of sun god. They rise and they bloom in the daytime. With sunrise, with sunset, they again close up. So the lilies, they are the flowers of like moon god. They rise in the night. So here, if we see, literally the heat is so scorching, the heat. But the lotus is enjoying because it is there in the water. It is getting all the energy. So similarly here Kṛṣṇa is explaining, one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So here today's verse, the first part, what it explains exactly, Kṛṣṇa, now we spoke about karma. The second part was that akarma. So it has two parts, inactivity and non-reactive work. Non-reactive work means whatever we are doing, it is for the pleasure of the Lord. Okay? So Manu Samhita explains, overall in the material world, especially the mankind, we are bound by 5 karmas, everyday life. This is called kṛtsna-karma-kṛt. On your everyday basis, from the time you get up till the time you go to bed. So you are doing 5 activities. They are unintentional. You are not doing intentionally. So when you wake up, you broom the house, okay? Then you light fire. Especially this applies in the village. Nowadays we are living in city. Maybe little, not so much any harm we are doing. But if you see, in one sense, those who are living in village, they light fire in the chula. They broom the house. So many insects, minute species of life, they are killed. Then we go to the well, we draw water, okay? When we brush the teeth, and when we grind the grains, this way, some living entities, they are killed. This is called kṛtsna-karma-kṛt. So here, the first part, Kṛṣṇa explains, karmaṇya akarma-yaha. One who sees inaction in action. Okay, that is first part. So basically, Prabhupada explains the devotees of the Lord who are engaged 24 hours in the service of the Lord. So Bhagavad Gita 10.9. Can anyone recall what is 10.9? Paśyed madgata prana bodhavyanta parasparam katayanta shama nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So this is one of the 4 the important verses of Bhagavad Gita, Chatushloki Gita. So Kṛṣṇa explains, basically his devotees always are engaged in speaking about him, with glorifying the Lord with all other devotees. They are completely engaged. This here, karmaṇya akarma-yaha. This first part. Now second part, Kṛṣṇa explains, akarmaṇi cha karma-yaha. Now here what we should understand is action in inaction. Literally, sometimes it doesn't go into the mind exactly how to understand. Here, akarmaṇi cha karma-yaha means action in inaction. Okay? Those ignorant, Prabhupada writes, especially renunciates, Mayadis and all. So these people, falsely they take to bhakti. So what they feel, I'll be saved from material entanglement. But they are also living and they are doing so many activities, but if they are not dovetailed to the Lord, then they can bring reaction. So Bhagavad Gita 3.6, what Kṛṣṇa explains, karmendriyani samyamya ya asate manasa smaran indriyartham vimudhatma mithyachara cha uchyate. What Kṛṣṇa explains, one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So now if we see, when Prabhupada, he was taken for the first time to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Does anyone know who took Prabhupada to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? The person, his name? How many of you read Prabhupada Lilamrit? Okay, this is one question. Okay. So, because Prabhupada, he saw every day his father, he was feeding 5-6 sadhus. And he saw these sadhus smoking ganja and other thing outside. And they came to the house and they were taking prasad as a sadhus. His father, he fed them with good intention. But these people, they were literally lazy. Lazy. They were just surviving for eating. So, Prabhupada often he saw them doing many malpractices outside. So you'll find in Vrindavan such kinds of people here. Morning there are so many ashrams. There is one ashram called Chana Puwa, Malpuwa. So many ashrams. Morning they give tea. Some ashram they give chana. They give so many things. And these sadhus they line up there. Line up with, they have one kamandalu, one BD packet, one whatever it is. So literally they are living here for making their living. They are not having any mala. Oftentimes what activities they are doing, they are more questionable, not on a very gross level. But to some extent what we see, they are not doing any devotional activity, although they are in devotional uniform, they are in sadhu cloth. But if you see most of their activities, they are just surviving. They are like socially outcast, something like that. They have left the home like that. Okay, they are not doing anything bad. But here, for them, the law of karma, here what Kṛṣṇa explains, akarmaṇi karmaṇy. Although they are not doing these things for the Lord, they will be entangled in the cycle of karma. Because whatever they are eating, they are not following any, they are not offering any mantra. So in one sense here what we see, there are also some seasonal sadhus from Bihar. They go to Haridwar, Rishikesh during that Char Dham Yatra. So they sit down there on the roadside, and people who are going to Haridwar, Rishikesh, that Char Dham, they pay them money. So in one season they earn 25 to 30,000 rupees in 6 months' time. So this way there are sadhus. Recently 4 Muslims, they were caught. They dressed like sadhus. And one was, somehow he was caught. He was asked, okay, if you are real sadhu, utter some mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Gam Ganeshaya Namah. He couldn't utter anything. So they are false, just acting like a sadhu, but in outer, this is just an outer dress, but inwardly he is completely different. So we see such kind of people, even the visitors who are coming to Vrindavan. So literally they are not devotionally inclined. They are doing their own selfies. They want to eat a good food. They want to do some time pass. So that is not real devotion. So material world, what we see, especially we as human beings, we are bound in the cycle of karma, akarma, vikarma. So in our scriptures, there are various kinds of karmas mentioned. So I have listed some. So I'll explain little briefly. So one is called Vyaktigat karma. That is called individual karma. Vyaktigat means one person, he does something. Like in Ramayana, Dashrath. Anyone knows he killed one boy. What was his name? Shravan Kumar. So the parents, they cursed him that you will also have a tough time when you die, your son will not be there. He was cursed. So that is called individual karma. Whatever he is doing, he will get the reaction. So I'm just quoting from Ramayana. So then there is one karma called samuhik, collective karma. So Prabhupada gives one nice example, like a goat is being sold by someone, then it is cut by someone, then it is cooked by someone, served by someone, and eaten by some. So 6 people are involved. It's called collective karma. So now if you see the 6 sons of Devaki who were killed by Kamsa, so they were children of Marichi Rishi. They laughed at Brahma. They were cursed. Okay? So now collective karma means all they were involved. It's called collective karma, samuhika karma. Then comes sanchit karma. Sanchit means accumulated karma. Means over a period of time, you accumulate so many karmas, bad karma, good karma, both are binding. So if we see in the life of Dhritarashtra, so after the Mahabharata war, Dhritarashtra he asked, how come my 100 sons, they died before me? Actually, Shastras explain that if we are really very much sinful, then our children, they will die before us. Or an enemy will be born as your son to give you, whatever it is. And here, Dhritarashtra he asked Kṛṣṇa, yes, what exactly I did that I am suffering now in this life? My 100 sons, they died before me. So Kṛṣṇa is knower of past, present, future. Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa explains that this time is divided into 3 parts. One is past, present, and future. So 7th chapter, Kṛṣṇa explains that I know what has happened in the past, what is happening in the present, what will happen in the future. So he told Dhritarashtra that 100 lifetimes back you were a hunter. And one day while hunting, you put a burning net on 100 baby birds. And they got instantly killed by that fire. And when the parents, they came to rescue the baby birds, they got blinded by that fire. So now, after 100 lifetimes, after 50 lifetimes, this is 50 lifetimes. So you are paying for that, what you did 50 lifetimes back. So Dhritarashtra asked, how come I had to wait for 50 lifetimes? Okay? Now this is anyone can ask, why I had to stay 50 lifetimes? So Kṛṣṇa, he told, even to beget one son, you have to have so much pious credit. There was one king in King Chitraketu. He had 100 million wives, 100 crore wives. Still he didn't have one son, So now we can say, how come it is possible? How he didn't have even one son. So Angira Muni, he did a yajna for him to beget one son. So Kṛṣṇa, he told, after 50 lifetimes, you had a adequate piety by which you got 100 sons. And what karma you did for that, you are repaying in this life. So that way he was convinced. Okay, that's called sanchit karma. Then comes vilambit karma. It's called in English delayed karma. It's very easy to understand. Delayed karma means like if you eat very nice spicy food morning. So next day morning you will have a very tough time. Okay, the reaction is going to come. So there are a good number of real life stories. There was one person, he was in Air Force. He was from Amritsar. So he was going back to job after finishing his holidays. So what happened, the train in which he was traveling got fire. And some people, they got killed. So somehow there is a saying, Vinasha Kale Viprata Buddhi. He put his identity on a person whose complete face was charred by fire. So he told the people at his home that I'm safe. After some time I'll come home. So a body will come in my name. You can do the final rites, whatever it is. So as per his plan, things went off. Then the people, they got lump sum on his behalf. So after about 7 years, that time, what happened, in that same village, some terrorists, they entered the village. The police, they surrounded the village. And they took all the youth to the police station. And they were asking, yes, what is your name? What is your name? So when he was questioned, who are you? Then he said, I am XYZ. And they saw the record. This fellow is died in a train accident 7 years back. So they said, how come you are alive? Here on the records you are dead. Then he had to speak the truth because the police, they were investigating. So then he told the real truth. So the police, they informed the Air Force. So they took him, they put him in the jail. So it is called vilambit karma, delayed karma. Okay? So then comes ugra karma. Ugra karma means like especially killing cows. Killing cows, it is ugra and ghora karma. Sorry, ugra means it has the worst reaction in our life, especially killing of cows, is called ugra karma. And Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, he told Krishna, why you are putting me in this ghora karma? Ghora karma means this fighting amongst the relatives. If you see, Krishna, he wanted this war to be fought by the Kauravas and Pandavas. So what Arjuna was thinking that yes, I should not fight, I should come out of this battle. So Arjuna, what he said, you are engaging me in a ghora karma. Ghora karma means literally killing our own relatives. That's called ghora karma. So then one is called prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means now this present life, whatever body we have got, this body we have got, prarabdha karma means the present situation of our life. That is from past life, whatever piety, whatever we did. So on that basis, we got this body. And if we see, literally, especially in human society, you will find people from very poor to the richest. But whereas in other animal society, bird society, more or less you will find people, these living entities on par, on the same level. Maybe a millionaire may be having a dog at home, he maybe is getting a good treat, that is a different thing. Very few may be having that, some cats, people in Western countries, now also in India they keep these dogs and all. And that is not a big deal. On a higher level, if you see that even Ashwatthama, one time what happened, Ashwatthama, his mother, every day she used to give him, that oatmeal as a milk, cow milk. So one time Ashwatthama, he went on a picnic with the Kauravas and Pandavas. And Ashwatthama, he got to eat so many nice preparations made from milk, rasgulla, rasmalai, rabdi and all. So he couldn't imagine that milk, what he ate. So when he came home, he told his mother, what you are feeding me is not real milk. You are giving me, you are just fooling me. So because his father was very poor, Dronacharya, he couldn't afford to even keep a cow. So if we see the karma, whatever in material world, what we are doing karma, that is our individual karma. And this life, whatever activities we are doing, so they will govern our next life. So that is what Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajante ante kalevaram tam tam eviti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavit. So at the time of living this body, so a person, whatever he is doing, because his consciousness throughout the life, his consciousness has generated a special, thinking, feeling, willing, doing. So that person will be in that consciousness, and that consciousness will take him to the next life. This is by default. So in Bengali, there is a saying, sadhan kar, bhajan kar, mrityu kale, jaan le bhai. So at the time of death, everything will be tested. That is what is mentioned. So here, Kṛṣṇa has mentioned 2 types of karma, karmaṇya karma, then akarmaṇi karmaṇ. So Prabhupada explains that immunity to all sorts of reactionary elements of work, how to achieve. So he explains only Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the only antidote, that is akarma, no reactions occur, and all acts which are done for Kṛṣṇa, so the attitude is there that no desire for sense gratification, and in such a sense one can have an eternal servitorship with the Supreme Lord, and what is the result? Enjoys transcendental happiness. On the contrary, what we see, those who are trying to enjoy but they are not surrendered to the Lord, so they are again reaping some reaction to their activities. So Kṛṣṇa explains in the 11th canto to Uddhava that where there's one nice verse where Kṛṣṇa explains that, my dear Uddhava, just as blazing fire turns firewood into ashes, similarly devotion unto me completely burns to ashes sins committed by my devotees. So now, literally in one sense, in material world, sometimes devotees, they have to do some activities. Maybe they may be contrary. But because they are doing for the pleasure of the Lord, so the reactions don't come to their life. Like the Prabhupada gives one example. So army man, when he's fighting with the enemy, whatever number of enemies he kills, he gets a reward for that. But that same army man, when he goes to home on a leave, so if he kills even one person, so he will be put in bar, behind the bar for that action. So here, Kṛṣṇa explains, yes, for a devotee, whatever activities he does, so at the will of the Lord. If you see in the Mahabharata war, we have the best example of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So he is called Dharmaraj. He never spoke lie. So Kṛṣṇa, he told, now you have to speak a lie. So he was literally taken away, taken back. What to do, what to not to do. So he was in such a dilemma. So what can be done? So because he didn't utter that, so his chariot, it came down. Can you imagine? So it is mentioned that Yudhishthira Maharaj chariot is to go above the earth. I don't know how many inches. But the moment he somehow denied it in his heart, so his chariot came down. So now, whatever we are doing for the pleasure of the Lord, let it be anything. Like Prabhupada explains, Arjuna, he killed all these soldiers for the pleasure of the Lord. Because Lord, he wanted that. So in that sense, Arjuna will not get any reactions because he is killing them on the order of the Supreme Lord. So now Prabhupada explains vikarma. So work with attachment. This attitude that against scriptural injections, so that is bad karma. So Prabhupada explains that according to Shastras, the results are not good. So Kṛṣṇa creates, Prabhupada explains, Varnashrama according to our work and quality. I quoted that verse from Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. So here, in one sense, Kṛṣṇa explains two kinds of activities, action in inaction and inaction in action. So in the second part it is mentioned, Prabhupada, Kṛṣṇa explains, sa buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu. So such a person is an intelligent person who can literally make out what is inaction, what is action, and what is forbidden action. So Kṛṣṇa here, second part he explains, those who are intelligent person, so they will do the work according, and as intelligent persons, they will do such kind of work. So our acharyas also, they have quoted on this. So Sridhar Swami, he explains that showing the mysterious intricacies of action and inaction is being delineated by Lord Kṛṣṇa. One who sees inaction in action, such as yajna or worship of the Supreme Lord, and who sees that such worship is actually non-action, it leads to knowledge, and having no reaction does not bind one to material existence. This person understands. Similarly, one who sees action in inaction, such as non-performance of prescribed duties, such as Ekadasi Vrata or completely abstaining from all grains on the 11th day of the waxing moon and waning moon, when not performed, results in sinful reactions and binds one to material existence. He gives one example of Ekadasi, how the devotees, they follow the Ekadasi and they don't get reaction. Now we come to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he explains, that this verse gives an understanding of the truth of action and non-action. So he explains he is an intelligent who sees the person of pure heart fixed in knowledge, like Janaka. He gives example of Janak Maharaj, who does not renounce activity but rather engages in action, in nishkama-karma-yoga, does not accrue karma, akarma, and who sees that one who does not perform actions, renouncing actions as a sannyasi, being of impure heart, without knowledge, though talking profusely of knowledge because of knowledge of scriptures, actually obtains bondage of karma leading to misery. He engages in all activities. He does not renounce action even though instructions or association of those who think themselves knowledgeable are talking about jnana. So there in today's world, so many people they give, tarka. Tarka means they put logic. In today's world, people, if you tell them something, they will logically they will try to defeat you. They say, how come? They have so many questions. So, material world also there are so many people today. So, if you put something to them about devotional activities, so they will put so many tarka. Tarka means why it is like this. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that materialistic knowledge, he explains Jada Vidya Maya Gaurav. Maya is a degree of Maya. Maya is giving us so many degrees that you become a ass, you become a fool. But if we follow the scriptures, that's why it is mentioned that dharmasya tattvam nihito guhayam mahajano eno gata sapanta. So this knowledge of the scriptures, it is known only by the devotees of the Lord. Especially we have 12 Mahajans mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So then we have Baldev Vidyabhushan. Then first we told about Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So Baldev Vidyabhushan, he explains, this verse speaks of real nature of karma and akarma, which are to be understood. He who sees inaction or atma jnana in the action of nishkama-karma being performed because it is undertaken to reach akarma and sees action in atma jnana is wise. What has been said is explained as follows. This is desire of liberation who sees action undertaken for purification of the heart as a form of jnana, since it is aims at jnana, inaction in action, and who sees jnana, a form of action because action is the means to jnana, action in inaction. In other words, he who knows that karma and jnana are one because the goal is one, and thus seeks the truth about Atma through his action being performed, is intelligent or learned among buddhi-mān manuṣyeṣu. So here, Baldev Vidyabhushan, he speaks like that. Then we have Madhvacharya, he also explains, this verse Kṛṣṇa delineates the intricacies of subtle forms of actions. When a person performs karma or prescribed Vedic activities, resolves with certitude that the action performed is solely for the Supreme Lord and not for one's performing the action, whose consciousness is merely a minute reflection of the ultimate consciousness. So here, in one sense, most of our acharyas, they explain that whatever activities we are doing, these activities we have to do with the attitude, yes, I am doing this for the pleasure of the Lord. For the pleasure of the Lord, I am doing all these activities. So then those activities, they will not bind us in the material world. Because material world, as I told before, that whatever our actions we do in the material world, even minute actions, they are also recorded. In the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that karmaṇa daivi netrena jantur deha upapadyate. Now karmaṇa daivi netrena means, daivi netra means divine eyes. Today most of the institutions, they have so many CCTVs, One time I was visiting one city and there was a hoarding, Upar wala dekh raha hai. So I was taken back. Upar wala dekh raha hai. Then I saw there is a CCTV advertisement. For CCTV, they have put the advertisement, Upar wala dekh raha hai. So Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev explains, karmaṇa daivi netrena jantur deha upapadyate. That means, whatever activities we do, so there are 13 witnesses mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So today they want, that video clipping, so many MP3 recording, whatever, blah, 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 doesn't matter. But in the Lord's kingdom, there are 13 witnesses. It is mentioned that there are 4 directions, east, west, south, north, the earth, then the ether, then there is a sky, then that person who's doing the activity, the fire is there, water is there. So altogether it constitutes, there are 13 witnesses which are keeping our record. And if we see in Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is one nice pastime about Jagai and Madhai. So it is mentioned by the author of the book Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur, that there is no activity which was not done, karma, bad karma, by the Jagai and Madhai. And their sins, whatever sin they committed, it was written by 100 scribes. Scribes means Yamdutas. And all that was, it had become a big hill, you know. If you go to a certain office in that Tahsil office, there are so many files put, you know, for last 100 years, 200 years. So all their sins, they were accumulated to a size of a big hill. So he explains that when Jagai Madhai, actually Madhai, he harmed Nityanand Prabhu. So this is a big story. But later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he pardoned both Jagai and Madhai. And when he embraced them, so literally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he turned black. He turned black means like he was, by his body was golden complexion. But when he embraced Jagai and Madhai, so what happened, literally his body became black. Why? Because he took all the karma on himself. Because he took all the karma on himself. So later on it is mentioned that when Yamraj he came to know, so he fainted. Because he was looking that, yes, one day this Jagai Madhai will come to me and I'll give them a nice punishment. So Yamraj was thinking in that way. But literally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he forgave them. So just to conclude this verse, Prabhupada mentions that whatever activities we are doing in this material world, Prabhupada explains, because everything is done for Kṛṣṇa, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in discharge of this service. Those who are engaged in the process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The senses of eternal servitorship to Kṛṣṇa make one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. Now, Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions one verse, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakli Ashant, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shant. So, literally, material one, everyone is playing his own game. Own game means Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami. They have their own agendas. Today, if you see social media is somewhat like that, Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami. So they are giving you so many false informations. So Sakali Ashant, they will never keep quiet. Today, I don't know how many channels are there in TV, but more or less now people, they are in mostly mobile. They don't go for much TV. And literally seeing there is so much garbage in the material world. Because Prabhupada explains the cows, what they enjoy in the garbage only, the flies and the crows, because their nature is like that. But whereas the devotees of the Lord, they are called like hamsa, or they are like bumblebees. So they are enjoying either in the lake or on the flower, collecting the honey. So material world, always there will be two types of people. Some, they are engaged in the materialistic activities, although even the devotees, what activities they do, they may look same, but there is a gulf of difference between what the devotees they are doing and the non-devotees what they are doing. So both of have a different attitude of doing things. And Prabhupada explains the devotees, those who are engaged completely, because they are devoid of personal sense gratification. Even when we see Radharani, our acharyas, they explain that Radharani, she offers all the gopis to Lord Kṛṣṇa. She wants them to enjoy instead of her directly with Kṛṣṇa. So that is the attitude of the devotees. So they don't see their personal sense enjoyment. So they want that Kṛṣṇa, he should enjoy. So also Prabhupada explains this Vrindavan is for the enjoyment of the Lord, Radha Kṛṣṇa. It is not for our enjoyment. So oftentimes Prabhupada, he said Vrindavan is just for doing bhajan or living the body, and not for a royal living. Live life king size. That should not be the attitude of living in Vrindavan. So Vrindavan, we are living for the pleasure of the Lord. We should know always that we are here to serve the Lord, not for our own pleasure. If we are living with that attitude, then there is a flaw in our living in Vrindavan. So if one is living with that consciousness, yes, I am living here for the pleasure of the Lord, I am not living for my own pleasure. So then we are on the right track, on the right path. That way we can be successful in our Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So Hare Krishna. Anyone has any comment on this verse? So, whatever I spoke is clear? And anyone has any question regarding karmaṇya, akarma and akarmaṇi karma? So Kṛṣṇa explains such a person is a buddhi-mān. He is intelligent among men. So there is one verse in one book called Sanat Kumar Samhita. So there it is mentioned that when you go to the Lord, you should pray the Lord, "O Lord, give me the knowledge of discrimination." Vivek Buddhi. Today we don't have the knowledge of discrimination. So literally, although we are living a life as a human beings, but you will find most of the people, they have no knowledge of discrimination, especially those who are not devotees. At least devotees, they have some knowledge of discrimination, what they are doing. But literally in other sense, if we see materialistic people, they are living life. They are living in ignorance, bliss. They are living a blissful life in ignorance. So we'll conclude here. Srila Prabhupada, yes, okay. Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, his 100 sons died before him. So he had the question, what bad karma I did. My 100 sons, they died before me. So Kṛṣṇa, he told that 50 lifetimes back, he was a hunter. He killed 100 baby birds. As a reaction, after 50 lifetimes, he accumulated piety to get 100 sons. So after 50 lifetimes, he got 100 sons, and they were killed because he had killed 100 baby birds. He was born blind because the baby birds' parents, when they came to rescue them, they got blinded by that fire. So the scriptures, they mention the stories, like for Bhishma also there is a story mentioned. So there are so many pastimes where the example is given why this thing has happened. But in today's world, people, it is very difficult for the people to digest about karma. So that's why people, they say, why do bad things happen to good people? They can't digest whatever is being told, and they even don't want to understand whatever things are happening in their life is their karma. That theory of karma, people, they don't accept in today's world. But ultimately, that theory is going to work. And it is working. Nobody is independent in the material world. So the laws of karma will act. Yes.
As we are doing activities in devotional service according to instructions of Prabhupada, but still because consciousness is not pure, so still we have so many desire for sense gratification. So which law will apply? Because we are trying to do things for devotional service, but still we are
like today you have this GPS. So when you put the GPS in your car, so you take left, right, okay. So whatever authorities you are following, so if you are following them, if you are following the devotional laws, so you are on the right path. So that should be our understanding. because we are following the authority. What Prabhupada explains, if you are not under somebody's guidance, a child, it can be carried away by his own. But if his parents there and he's following the parents, then he's following the right path. So similarly, whatever activities we are doing, so they should be ordained by the authority. There has to be this thing from them, guidance, guidelines. Then we are on the right path.
What about consciousness then?
So even we become a Paramhansa, the mind will revolt. Even if we go to that level, we are not on that level. So one time one Maharaji was telling, even if you become a Paramhansa, so your mind will not let you, live peacefully. So you have to neglect the mind. So better you neglect the mind, because there is no antidote for the mind. So when you clean the house, so much dirt will be coming. So it is like that. The mind will always be giving you so many excuses. So Prabhupada explains, better you neglect the mind. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he mentions, you should beat the mind 100 times with shoes, then night 100 times with broom. So that we don't do. So there is no this thing, for antidote for the mind. Hari. Yes, Prabhu.
In Dhritarashtra case, it took 50 lifetimes.
To accumulate piety to get 100 sons.
But in Kali Yuga, the reaction is taking place immediately.
Yeah, that is there.
So somebody takes bribe, he will be jailed immediately.
Yeah. See, there is a saying, if you live with gun, you will die with gun. There is a saying, an English saying, if you live with gun, you will die by gun. So that is there. What you see in today's world. So most of the people, one time there was a news, some people they were making bomb, and that bomb got, so they got the instant karma, whatever it is. So one day or the other day, they are going to get the reactions for what they do. And we are, and that you have a good experience, you are telling about your experience, that is true. Because our actions, they will prevail. And the reaction is, it is mentioned that more than 80% of the reactions what we do, we have to give in the present body. It is not that I'll get a reaction in my next life. No. Maybe some exceptional cases like Dhritarashtra and all. But most of the reactions, they are to be given in this life only. Yeah. Like when you retire from government's office, so they will cut all your dues. Whatever remaining is there, they will give you. So that way. Then there is a clearance. They say, okay, now he is clear of all debts outstanding. So, Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki.